की जय। बोल बोल पंजे वाले की जय। सर्वे सुंदर साथ की जय। Let's say the prayer together. सच्चिदानंद रूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादि हेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपात्तमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। परमानन्दमाधवम्। Shri Krishna Kanayalal ki jai. Welcome on, everyone. So now let's start with our Gita teachings of the 8th chapter as we were doing in the last session. So last class we saw, just to put it back into a nutshell, we saw that Shri Krishna ji says, whoever remembers me in the final moments of his life will be able to attain me. Because he has said that whatever you remember in the very last moment of your life, that's what you attain. So, keeping this principle in his mind, Sri Krishna, while and again in this 8th chapter, has reiterated the fact that everyone should be focused on the last moment of their life because it's going to be of great importance. Those who come back to the cycle of birth and death again and again, they keep on remembering that in their last moment. But those who want to go to the supreme abode of Sri Krishna will have to remember Sri Krishna ji alone. So that is how Sri Krishna is talking to us in this 8th chapter. Now, we shall proceed with the further verses. I think the last time we may have done up till the 15th one. Yes, correct me if I'm wrong. So we may have done up till the 15th one, and let's proceed with the 16th verse. So in the 16th verse, Sri Krishna is saying that there are so many worlds which are there above the mortal world and which are there below the mortal world. So the worlds which are there above the mortal worlds are called the higher worlds, and those which are there below the mortal world are called nether worlds. Now, what I'm trying to say is, in the 16th verse, Krishna says that even those higher worlds which are there, if one is able to go in those places, the higher worlds, thus they're coming back into the cycle of birth and death cease or stop. Sri Krishna ji says, even though one may go to the highest of the 14 worlds, which is called Satlok or the Lok of Brahmaji, yet he has to come back to the cycle of birth and death. And coming here, he will also have to repeat everything that he has been doing in all the births, which means the sorrows, the difficulties that he's bearing in each and every life will keep on coming in the same manner. So, Sri Krishna says, even by attaining the highest world in the 14 worlds, one is always eligible to come back to the cycle of birth and death. He's subject to coming back into the cycle of birth and death. So, what is the use of going there? It is a temporary relief. It is like saying you have earned something from the office and you wish to take a break. So, for which you go to some beautiful place to enjoy yourself. But what happens? You are going for a few days, after which you come back to the normal. And when you come back to normal, you will have to do all the things as you were doing before, which means there is no other uh, way out of your regular mode of living. But if you want to get out of the cycle of birth and death, there is only one way out. And that one way out is by worshipping Sri Krishna. So now let me quickly share the verses for today. Just within about half a minute, I will share the verse 16 onwards. So, so are you able to see the verses which I have shared, 16th to the 19th one? Okay. Now, in these verses, in the 16th verse, Sri Krishna says that in all the worlds of this material creation, to the highest abode of Brahma, you will be subject to rebirth, O Arjun. But on attaining my abode, O son of Kunti, there is no further rebirth. Very, very clearly stated by Shri Krishna that you attain my abode and you will not be pushed back into the cycle of birth and death. You permanently exit from the miseries and the sufferings of rebirth. You all can imagine that this may be your best birth so far, where you are enjoying so many luxuries and amenities. However, still there are difficulties and sorrows because at the physical level, at the mental level, maybe at the financial level also, we may have certain difficulties. But if, despite that this birth is the best birth so far, if we had so many difficulties, then what to say about an ordinary birth? So, dear friends, never let us think that we will get a better birth than this. We are blessed to have this birth. And if we are not able to exit the cycle of birth and death here, then in which birth will we be able to exit the cycle of birth and death? So, keeping this in mind, now let me also quickly share with you the map of the cosmos which we have. So, just a moment. What's this? Mhm. I'm sorry, I'm taking a bit more because I'm not able to get the map there very easily, but I will get it. Just a moment. Okay, anyways, I'll begin with your description of the verses only. So here we are seeing in this 16th verse that there are worlds one above the other, and in all there are 14 worlds. The 14th is the highest world because when you go on counting from bottom, the lowest world is called Patal. It is also called as the nether worlds. And from the nether worlds, higher up as we go, the highest world is called the capital city. It is the city of the Trinity where Brahmaji, who is the generator of the 14 worlds, Vishnu Bhagwan, who is called the operator, and Shivji, who is called the destroyer, they reside. And that is called the capital of 14 worlds. Krishna says that even though you go to that capital, which is the highest of the 14 worlds, yet the cycle of birth and death cannot be surpassed. You will fall back someday or the other. On the same lines, Shri Krishna, in the next verse, that is in the 17th verse, he says, one day of Brahma lasts 1,000 cycles of 4 ages, and his night also extends for the same span of time. The wise who know this understand the reality about day and night. Now, just as we have 12 hours day and 12 hours night, Brahmaji, in his own world, he too has a 12 hours day and a 12 hours night, isn't it? But there is a difference of time for us and Brahmaji. For us, who are human beings in this mortal world, our time frame is as per the human era, the human age, right? But for Brahmaji, his time zone is as per the God's age or the God's arena. Now, what is the difference? Let us first understand that. Dear friends, I will have to say, I will have to start saying, right from when we have the 4 ages rotation, there is one cycle of 4 ages. It starts with Satyug, then comes the Treta Yuga. It is followed by Dwapar Yuga, and that is followed by Kali Yuga. So these are the 4 ages. Presently, we are in the age of Kali, which means Kali Yuga. So let's repeat once more for your sake. The first one is Satyug, second is Treta Yuga, third one is Dwapar Yuga, and the fourth one is Kali Yuga. One cycle, that is, the 4 ages taken together, is called a Chatur Yuga. I will just mention the spelling of this Chatur Yuga. So, in a Chatur Yuga, there is a set of four ages, four yugas taken together. Now, please also understand that the rotation of all these yugas keeps on continuing. First, there is Satyug, Treta, Dwapar, and Kalyug. After Kalyug, again there is Satyug. So Satyug will be followed by Treta, Dwapar, Kalyug. Again, there will be Satyug. So these ages, the four ages, they are going to continue itself in rotation. How many such rotations will take place? It is said in a 12-hour day of Brahmaji, 1,000 such rotations of four ages will take place. So there are 1,000 Chaturyugas in the 12-hour span of Brahmaji. That is the variation between us and Brahmaji. So many ages pass by. Now, how long does one age take? Presently, we are in Kali Yuga, and Kali Yuga's span is 4,32,000 years. You can imagine a human being who has an ordinary age of, let's say, 100 years. It's never 100. Nobody reaches that much. However, it could be 60, 70, 80, whatever it is. But it is said that the human age is 100 years. How many times he will have to be born in one Kali Yuga? Okay. Now let us go a little deeper. The age of Dwapar Yuga is double the age of Kali Yuga. So it is 8,64,000 years. And thrice the age of Kali Yuga is the age of Treta Yuga. 4 times the age of Kali Yuga is the age of Satyuga. Can you imagine? Thousands and lakhs of years. In just once, when the four yugas pass, there are lakhs of years that are spent on this mortal world. How many births will a soul have to take in that time? Nevertheless, only after 1,000 such rotations of the Chaturyugas, 12 hours of Brahmaji would take place. Now, why are we focusing on the 12-hour span of Brahmaji? We are focusing on the 12-hour span of Brahmaji because that 12-hour span is in which Brahmaji is working or is active in his office. So Brahmaji also attends office. He works for 12 hours. For the remaining 12 hours, he is not active in the office. He is resting in his own abode. What do I mean to say is, when he is active, because he is the creator, the creation manifests. And when he goes back to his place to rest, the creation dissolves because he is the creator. Now, Brahmaji is the creator, but when we say he is the creator or the generator, it merely goes to say that he generates the 84 lakh species or the 8.4 million species in this mortal world. He is the generator of the 84 lakh species. However, dear friends, he is having a charge or he is having control over this 14 worlds only and not beyond that. So it is said that 14 worlds, there are so many lakhs and millions of 14 worlds, and every 14 world arrangement has got their own admins, generators, operators, and destroyers. So, what we mean to say here is that although Brahmaji is a creator, but he is the creator, he is the generator belonging to this particular 14 worlds cosmos and not all the cosmos, not all the worlds. Every world has got their respective Brahmaji. So now let us please understand that the 12 hours span of Brahmaji, which is called as a kalpa, Kalp, kalpa. So one day, 12 hours is called one kalpa, and it lasts for 1000 cycles of 4 ages. His night also will extend for the same time span as it. But the important thing is that when Brahmaji during his day is creating such universes, such cosmos, at that time, the creatures are born in this world. They keep on undergoing the cycle of birth and death so many times in this cosmos. This is the reality which each and every human being must be aware of. However, in our life, we're so busy with so many other things, the material objects, this, that, everything, that we keep running the rat race. However, we are unable to come to this truth. We are unable to know this fact of life. Why is it important to know about Brahmaji and his day? Because that will show us the way of exiting the cycle of birth and death. Now, in the next verse, you will see that Sri Krishna says, at the advent of Brahma's day, all living beings emanate from the unmanifest source. And at the fall of his night, all embodied beings again merge into their unmanifest source. So, with Brahmaji's powers to create or to generate, the souls which take birth in this world, they will get the bodies of insects, birds, animals, trees, human beings. So, there are so many varieties of species, so many bodies which they will be able to adopt. Again, in every species, they will have multiple births. As they advance from one species to another, in the second species again, they will have a number of births. So you can imagine, first of all, there are so many species and so many births which a soul has to take in the different bodies which it will don. How much miseries, how much sufferings that a soul has to undergo, isn't it? That is why Sri Krishna says that the one who falls in the cycle of birth and death, he will be facing or undergoing so many miseries and difficulties. Why should we fall back into this cycle of birth and death? After having attained this human birth, we should look to exit it. It is as simple as that. So Krishna shows us the way how to exit this cycle of birth and death. He says that when Brahmaji creates this universe, the jivas will manifest in this, and at the advent of his life, all the jivas whom he had manifested will merge back into their source, into their origin. But in between, when Brahmaji is active, in those 12 hours, they will keep on falling in the cycle of birth and death. This is how the mortal world is like. So, how do we exit this cycle of birth and death? Now, let's go to the next verse where Krishna says, multitudes of beings repeatedly take birth with the advent of Brahmaji's day and are reabsorbed on the arrival of the cosmic night to manifest again automatically on the advent of the next cosmic day. So, whenever there is daytime for Brahmaji, we keep on coming back into the cycle of birth and death. When it is night for Brahmaji, every single jiva or every single soul of this mortal world will merge back into Brahmaji's origin, into Brahmaji's fold, because that from there they have to again manifest. Then Brahmaji will start his next day. So, why do we want to go back and come back? Isn't it? Why do we want to come back into this cycle of birth and death? So, after which, now let me share the next verse with you all. Okay. So, as you can see in the next verse, Sri Krishna says, transcendental to this manifest and unmanifest creation, there is yet another unmanifest eternal dimension. That realm does not cease, even when all others do. It is a very, very important fact here. So, what is Sri Krishna saying? This 14 worlds in which we are, presently we are in one of the 14 worlds. It is called as the mortal world, right? And in this mortal world, there are 84 lakh species, out of which human beings are one of them. There are another species of birds, animals, trees, and aquatic animals as well. However, all those species do some things common as we do. They also eat, they also sleep, they too fear from dangers, they too procreate. So these things are common between us and between them. However, what is the uncommon thing for the human beings? That uncommon thing is that human beings have got an intellect which can discriminate, which knows about its past, about its future, and of course, it also knows about its present age or present tense. So, a human intellect is such which can decide based on what has been its past, what has to happen in its future, and what is happening presently. A human intellect will know that if I want to exit the cycle of birth and death, what should I be doing? Now, this is the specialty of human beings in the mortal world. Keeping this fact in our mind, let us look at the words of Sri Krishna in the 20th verse. Here he is saying that there are manifest and unmanifest creation. Manifest is something which appears in front of you. Unmanifest is something which cannot be seen or heard by the physical eyes and the ears. It is unmanifest. And secondly, it is also unmanifest because the ordinary souls of the 14 worlds cannot reach there. So those are the transcendental worlds which are imperishable, which are fathomless and seamless. In our upcoming Shibir from tomorrow, we are going, or for you it's day after, but we are going to focus upon the imperishable arena and what we call as the unmanifest creation. Well, it is, what are the qualities of that unmanifest creation? We will see in that. So for now, I just want to say that in the 14 worlds that we know, it is a manifest creation, but there is something beyond it that is unmanifest. And what is beyond it is imperishable. The 14 worlds are perishable. There is a time limit for it. It is time bound. When that time comes, the 14 worlds will dissolve. That is what you all may have seen as Pralay, Holocaust. So, Krishna says, let us know that unmanifest beyond this creation, and let us try to achieve that unmanifest. If you are able to achieve that unmanifest, you will not fall back into the cycle of birth and death. However, even if you go to the highest level of this manifest creation, you will still have to come back to the cycle of birth and death. So, keeping this in mind, now Sri Krishna says, that unmanifest creation which I am talking about does not cease, it does not perish. So, in the 21st verse, he is saying that unmanifest dimension is the supreme goal. Very, very clearly, he has mentioned it is the supreme goal, and upon reaching it, one never returns to this mortal world. There is no need. Why? An example is given: a businessman from India goes abroad, earns so much wealth, he returns back to the home country with that wealth. And it is more than sufficient for his own life, for the life of his 7 generations. Then why will he go back for earning much more wealth? He is more than satisfied and he wants to enjoy the wealth. So he will not go back to earn, isn't it? Keeping this in mind, the human being who has earned enough of merits and who will go to that unmanifest creation, which we have called imperishable, he will not have to come back to the cycle of birth and death in the mortal world. He has permanently exited. So that is called the supreme goal by Sri Krishna. In the next, that is the 22nd verse, he says, the supreme divine personality. Who is Sri Krishna? He is not a god. I keep on repeating. He is the Godhead. When you say God, let us elaborate on the word God. G stands for generator. O stands for operator, and D stands for destroyer. The Trinity, Brahmaji, Vishnuji, and Maheshji or Shankar Bhagavan. These are called gods. Brahmaji is the one who creates, Vishnu Bhagavan is the one who operates, and Shivji is the one who destroys when time comes. They are called gods. Krishna is not merely a god, he is Godhead. He is the supreme divine personality. He is the supreme power. So never do this. Never just understand that Sri Krishna is a god. He is the Godhead. He is the supreme divine personality. So here you can see in the 22nd verse that the supreme divine personality is greater than all that exists. Why so? Because he, that is Sri Krishna ji, has given the command to all the gods to give rise to this universe, to make the 14 worlds arrangement, to make the mortal world the most prominent place of the 14 worlds, and to see to it that all the drama which is taking place here by Maya will take place in this mortal world. So, he was the one who existed even before the 14 worlds were formed, even before the gods were there. He is the primeval personage. He is beyond everything. Now, because he was there before everything existed, he knows everything. He knows how the universe came into existence. How did the gods come into existence? How did they gain power to administrate this entire 14 worlds? So Sri Krishna knows in and out of the universe. Nothing is hidden from him. Now, although he is all pervading and all the living beings are situated in him only, yet he can be known only through devotion. So, this is a very, very, very important thing that we should keep in mind. Sri Krishna cannot be known without devotion. Until and unless we are devoted unto him, we cannot know Sri Krishna. Although all of us are situated under the fold of Sri Krishna, we all have manifested in this verse as per Krishna's command. Everything is there. Yet we will not know Sri Krishna until we are devoted unto him with worship. So the worship of Sri Krishna is what allows us to know who Sri Krishna is, where is his abode, and how do we reach that abode so that we can exit the cycle of birth and death. So, dear friends, this is a very important verse, and that is why I have underlined the most important fact that how do we understand or how do we know who Sri Krishna is? Where is Sri Krishna's abode? How do we reach his abode? See, now in the ensuing three verses, Sri Krishna has mentioned a very important fact again. So let me again share it with you all. Okay, so here are the next three verses. Mhm. Pranam. I'm just trying to join. Just so, uh, now I have shared the verses 23 to verse 26. And in those verses, what did Sri Krishna say here? He is bringing to our notice that those who drop their bodies during Uttarani, okay, for them, it is easy to attain the Brahmic abode. Now, this is something new for you. There are 6 months during the year, which is called as Uttarayan, and there are 6 months which is called as Dakshinayan. And during Uttarayan, those who follow the Vedic teaching or the Vedic rituals, it is believed that when they drop their bodies during those 6 months of Uttarayan, they will be able to reach the supreme Brahmic abode. Whereas those who drop their bodies after those 6 months, they will have to go to the higher celestial abodes as per their merits, but not the supreme abode. Sri Krishna says here, this is as per the Vedic rituals. Whoever follow the Vedic rituals, they will have to undergo this system. They will be relying on the movement of the sun and the moon for Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. So I will just read out what Sri Krishna says in his own words. I shall now describe to you different paths of passing away from this world, O best of the Bharatas, which is Arjun, one of which leads to liberation and the other leads to rebirth. So these are the two paths, one leading to liberation, one leading to rebirth. Those who know the Supreme Brahman and who depart from this world during the 6 months of the sun's northern course, which is called as the Uttarayan, the bright fortnight of the moon, and the bright part of the day, they attain the supreme destination. So, as we discussed, based on the movement of the sun and the moon, the Uttarayan, which is the northern movement of the sun, that is the Uttarayan. And during that time, the one who drops their body as per the Vedic rituals are said to be able to attain the Brahmic abode, the abode of Shri Krishna. But those who do not drop their bodies during the 6 months of Uttarayan, they will not be able to attain that Brahmic abode because they will go to the higher celestial worlds, the worlds above the mortal world. This holds true for the practitioners of the Vedic rituals. What are the Vedic rituals? In the Vedas, there is mention of so many rituals which are the building blocks of a soul. Because a soul, to advance in its spiritual journey, will have to undergo all these building blocks, will have to undergo all these Vedic rituals to get purity. Okay? However, once that purity is attained, the Vedic rituals have to be surpassed, and one has to go or advance into worship. Worshipping whom? Worshipping the Supreme Divine Personality, Sri Krishna, the Godhead. Therefore, Sri Krishna says here that those who pass away, who drop their bodies during the 6 months of the sun's southern course, which is called as the Dakshinayan, the dark fortnight of the moon, the time of smoke, the night, they attain the celestial abodes. They cannot go to the Brahmic abode after enjoying celestial pleasures, because if they attain the celestial abode, they will also enjoy the celestial pleasures, and they will return back to the earth after enjoying the celestial pleasures. And what they have to do is restart doing their actions, earn merits, and take the fruits of the merits, and again enjoy that. If they are not able to do enough merits, they will go to the lower worlds. What is the use? You're just going up and down. You're taking rebirth. So, this is the rotation, which is like a vicious cycle. It never comes to an end. Sometimes the merits are exceeding the demerits. Sometimes the demerits are so many that you're unable to enjoy the merits which you have earned. So, what is Sri Krishna trying to say by describing all this to us? He says, these two, that is the bright and the dark paths, always exist in this world. The way of light leads to liberation, and the way of darkness leads to rebirth. But all this applies to whom? Those who are merely caught in the Vedic rituals, those who have not come to the level of worship. It applies to them. Now, a very, very important thing that he is mentioning in the next two verses, I would like to do them today because then we are able to complete the eighth chapter. And that is a conclusive note as well for us. So let me just go for 5 more minutes and try to complete the two verses. Yes. So here you can see that the final two verses of this chapter, Sri Krishna is giving us a conclusion. Yogis who know the secret of these two paths, they are never bewildered. Therefore, at all the times, be situated in yoga. And what does yoga mean? Yoga means union with God. So, again, do not be mistaken. Union with God. We should understand this as union with the Supreme Divine Personality, Sri Krishna. So, the essence of the 27th verse is that Those who are involved in the Vedic rituals alone, for them, the movement of the sun, the movement of the moon, the dark fortnight or the bright fortnight, the Uttarayan and the Dakshinayan, all those things will matter. And therefore, they will not be able to drop their bodies during Dakshinayan. But on the other hand, you have the yogis. The yogis are the ones who, with meditation and with worship, will unite with Sri Krishna. So for the yogis, all these things, the Uttarayan, Dakshinayan, all those things will not really matter because every second of their life, through worship, they are in union with Sri Krishna. So the brighter fortnight or the dark fortnight, the movement of the sun and the moon will not really matter for them. Because, anyways, every second they are united with Sri Krishna. So, what should we become? Should we rely on the Vedic rituals alone, or should we become a yogi and unite with Sri Krishna? Isn't it? So, everyone should engage in worship with Sri Krishna and be united with him so that at any moment of our life when we have to drop the body, we do not fall into the cycle of birth and death. Instead, we attain the supreme divine abode of Sri Krishna, which is blissful and full of eternal happiness. That is the essence of the eighth chapter. In the final verse, he says, the yogis who know this secret, they gain merit far beyond the fruits of the Vedic rituals, the study of the Vedas, performance of sacrifices, austerities, and charities. Such yogis reach the supreme abode. So, very, very clearly, Krishna says that the merits which one attains when he becomes united with Sri Krishna are far more, they are far exceeding the merits that one can attain by performing the Vedic rituals, sacrifices, the charities given during the sacrifice, and all those things. Because Vedic rituals are meant for self purification. And after the self purification, as we progress in our spiritual journey, what comes next is worship. There are four stages basically. The first one is self purification through the Vedic rituals. And that is like a kindergarten, that is like a nursery stage, which everyone has to cross. To come to the next level, the next is worship of the Supreme Personality. The third level is gaining knowledge about Sri Krishna, which is even beyond worshipping. And the fourth one is wisdom. Wisdom is beyond knowledge. You know that something which is right now put on the gas is very hot and I should not be touching it. It will burn me. That is knowledge. But the moment you go and touch it, and what happens is you feel the heat of that vessel, and that comes into you as wisdom. That is experiential knowledge is wisdom. So, dear friends, these are the four stages for each and every one of us. The first one is self purification through the Vedic rituals. Second is worship. Third is knowledge. And fourth is wisdom. So we should aspire to go to the fourth level of wisdom and not remain stuck in the Vedic rituals itself. They are meant for self purification. Thereafter, worship takes care of our journey. So, as you keep advancing in your spiritual journey from knowledge to wisdom, or from worship to knowledge, or from the rituals to worship. Every time that worship will take care of the austerities, knowledge will take care of worship, wisdom will take care of knowledge. This is how it is. So let us aspire to reach the highest level, the level beyond knowledge, which is experiential knowledge or wisdom. When we do bhakti, when we worship Sri Krishna, we are united with him. But gaining his knowledge makes us more firm, isn't it? And once you get that knowledge, you become very firm in your understanding. Yet, there may be challenges. But if you go to the level of experiential knowledge, no matter what happens, nobody can shake you. That is wisdom. So, with this, we conclude the 8th chapter, the essence of which is be united with Sri Krishna, gain his knowledge, worship him, and also get the experiential knowledge from Sri Krishna so that nothing at all can shake us. So, the one who is united with Sri Krishna will reach his abode, his Paramdham, and he will never have to fall back into the cycle of birth and death. Never he will have to come back to experience the miseries of this world. So, with this, time is also up. So, let us quickly conclude our session for today. And okay. Let us say the prayers. Bolo Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki jai. Shri Krishna Sachidananda Par Brahma Purna Paramatma Shri Krishna Sachidananda Par Brahma Purna Paramatma Shri Krishna Sachidananda Par Brahma Purna Paramatma Shri Krishna Sachidananda Parbrahma Purna Paramatma Shri Krishna Sachidananda Parbrahma Purna Paramatma उसी नाम को भज भज के सदा सुख लियो हे आत्मा इसी नाम को भज भज के सदा सुख लियो हे आत्मा श्री कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय श्री सतगुरु महाराज की जय श्री प्राणनाथ प्यारे की जय कृष्ण प्रणाम धर्म की जय तिलपुरी धाम की जय बोल बोल पंज वाले की जय सर्व सिमर साथी की जय प्रणाम शुभ रात्रि